Hi everyone, this is Joy. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today's project is for Kraftgali and I am using some of the Slimline dies and some alphabet dies to make this really simple yet stunning card. Everything I've used for this project is listed and linked below in the description for you to find. So here is the die. I'm using the largest out of the Stitched Scallops 2-in-1 Slimline Essentials dies. And I've die cut that out of some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock, 110 pound. And I've also cut another piece out and I just trimmed it down to fit inside of this already die cut piece of paper. We're going to be doing some inking on that in just a second. So I'm starting with Tailored Expressions Plum Punch and Blue Raspberry ink. These are dye inks and I'm using their blender brushes. And as you can see, when I'm laying this ink down, it looks really blotchy. If you've ever used Distress Oxide inks, it goes on a lot smoother. But once this absorbs into the paper, you get a beautiful blended piece of cardstock with this ink. It turns out so beautiful. By the time we're done with this card and all the ink has absorbed in, it's going to blow your mind. But I'm mixing those two colors together to get a third color in the center. I love purples and teals together. I think they're stunning. And purple is not even kind of a favorite color of mine at all. It's probably the last color on the list that I would pick. But I like this combination together. So I'm just blending it, really saturating the paper till I get what I like. So now I'm taking that piece of paper and I am lining it up with that die cut scalloped slimline piece. And I'm trimming out the center and I was just lining it up so I could make sure I get all the color that we inked, make sure I can see as much of that as I wanted to, if that makes sense. Now I'm going to glue this down. I wanted to have that little bit opened. I'm also going to be putting some foam tape behind that, adding some gold foil cardstock, which I'm using here to die cut the word hi. And this is from the Uppercase Letters Essentials Alphabet die. So you get the inside words and then you can see there that you get the frame. And I'm going to use both of those pieces. Now I'm taking that gold mirror cardstock and I'm just going to trim that out and I'm adding a little bit of a border, a little bit of a gold border. So it has something that breaks it up when we add this to the top of that inked piece. I'm trimming that down. It's actually trimmed smaller than the scalloped edge. So it's just inside of that scalloped edge. And I'm doing that on both of these panels that we trimmed out earlier. Using just a little bit of liquid glue, lining that up, trimming off the excess. And then we've got this nice little gold edge. Now I'm going to add some foam tape behind this. Now, I forgot to clean up my surface after I did that inking. So I get a little bit of ink on the front of this panel and I don't realize it till I go to adhere it on. And thank goodness for a Tombow mono eraser to get rid of that. But oh my gosh, my heart sunk. I'm like, no. So tip number 1, clean off your station after you ink it. Now that that's nice and erased, I'm going to adhere these down. I'm just lining it up with the score lines on the back to make sure everything's nice and straight. And then you've got this popped up dimension with that beautiful inked part popping up. We're going to stamp a sentiment that says, I'm here for you, from Simon Says Stamp Tiny Words. And I'm just prepping my paper with an anti-static tool, inking it with clear ink and using some gold embossing powder. Making sure that my heat tool is nice and hot before I take it to my paper. It just causes less warping. Usually I end up sticking my heat tool in my lap and I turn it on while I am stamping and getting it all embossed, and it usually is good and heated up at that point. I have foam tape behind the letters and I'm just going to place those down and just eyeball it, get it in the center, and then, I had to adjust it a couple times just to make sure that everything was nice and centered in that colored piece. And you also want to make sure you don't, if you're going to use the frames, make sure you don't put your pieces too close together. You also could lay your frames down first, which is probably what I should have done, but it turned out just fine. And then add your center letters to that. So I'm just using a little bit of liquid glue and my tweezers and just placing that around. You also could do the frames in a different color than the solid letters, and that would be really beautiful as well. But I just liked the gold and wanted to keep it fairly simple. Now that that's done, I'm just going to be adding a little bit of some sequins. I think these are the Gold Fever confetti, but I'll have that listed for you guys. And that is all done. Isn't that just beautiful? And look how that inked background is. This large Slimline die is great, and those alphabet letters are wonderful. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe to my channel, thumbs up, comment, share with your crafty friends. I do have some affiliate links below. It costs you guys absolutely nothing to use, but it continues to help me to make these videos. So thank you for using them. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.